Hey, everybody. It's Dr. Sasheen. Welcome to Women in Transition podcast. I am your host, your guide, your teacher, your community builder, and if you need me, your counselor. So, welcome back to this episode of Women in Transition, where today we're talking about the rules for the road. If you're a woman of a certain age, Gen X woman to be specific, Xillennial, late Gen X woman, or late millennial woman, Gen X woman, then you have reached what we are often told as middle life. I mean, it's whatever. Those labels shouldn't mean anything to us, but people talk about us like we're somewhere on a dirt road stuck in the middle. We're not. But we have reached a place where certain aspects of our life are changing and shifting. We can't do anything about that necessarily. We can make those transitions smoother, but we can't, we are not going to stop the march of time, regardless of how much plastic surgery, working out, or healthy eating that we're going to do. We're still going to, walk the road. We're just going to walk it in the ways that we choose to take care of ourselves to allow us to walk it, right? Okay, so this video I have for you on top of our normal rules of engagement, which you have, if you have not watched that video, it's the pinned video on the channel. You should definitely go back and watch the new rules of engagement. That is what we live by. And then rule number one is scrolling below. But on the road of this thing called middle life, there are other rules that we want to embrace if we're not currently embracing them. And if we're doing them, we want to keep doing them, maybe tweak them for our journey. So stick around so that you get all five of them. There are five. And then we'll talk a little bit about if you're not on that path or you're not really sure which way to go, I have something for you, which is also on the screen down here. All right. So, oh, yes. So let's talk about rule number one. Your peace is non-negotiable. That's a rule for the road, but it's not one of the five that I'm going to talk about, but it's one that you definitely want to keep in mind as you've reached a certain place in your life, because all the other rules kind of flow from rule number one. Rule number two, by the way, because there are only two rules of engagement, is nothing and no one gets to mess with or fuck with rule number one. So once you have established that your piece is non-negotiable, then you need to establish how you're going to mosey yourself on down this thing called life. In the middle years, we have reached a reckoning point. And that reckoning point is, who are we going to be in the next best chapter of our life? I'm not going to say in the last chapter because I think that we transition out of the middle years into our twilight years. We're not there yet. We're still in the muddy middle, the place between generations where we still have a lot of stuff to do and we still have time to do it in, even though we don't know how much time and we hear the tick a little louder, but we still have time to do it in, but we have different priorities. In your 20s and 30s, you had a lot of energy but not a lot of options, right? Not a lot of energy but not a ton of options, because when you're broke you don't have very many options, and most 20 somethings are pretty broke, and most 30 somethings are just now are just starting to get out from underneath the 20 something of the brokenness. In your 40s you might have been starting family, potentially you're starting a family now, or you're in the middle years of that family that you started in your 30s, and you are in the muddy middle between young kids and aging parents, between a life in one career and a transition to a different way of life because of circumstances or choices, right? So there's so many things that are happening on this journey in in the middle. And because of that, I want to give you some rules that I want you to stick to help make that journey a little bit easier for you. So rule number one, I have them written down because I like to keep things straight. So rule number one is that you have to show up for what's happening in the present. So often, especially in the muddy middle, we look back at so a little bit of nostalgia at when things were simpler. And we also are tugged forward watching our parents age. We have to stay present in the moment that we are in, because we're not our parents and we're not our kids. If you have kids, if you don't have kids, then you're looking back maybe a little bit different. But you're not your parents and you're not the past. So the first rule of middle life is to stay present in the change, stay present in the moments. There is such a richness to reaching this age, right? there's just a feeling like the mystery of your life is deeper and richer than it's probably ever been because you know so much more about who you are and where you've come from and what you want, and you've achieved some things but you still dream of other things, right? Like there is a mystery, a beautiful mystery to being in this middle place. But so often we are tugged and stressed and we're being pulled in so many different directions that we are not present to the beautiful mystery of our lives. Instead, we are hijacked by the cortisol, the stress of other people's expectations of other people's lives. And so the first rule of middle life is to be present, to stay in the moment, to recognize your power of the moment. You made it here to this place, to this time, in this body, in this circumstance. Like you've come through some things. You've survived 100% of everything that life has thrown at you, good or bad, right? You've made it. And when we remember that the present is the most important, then we can stop letting cortisol hijack our system and our lives and focus on creating a space where we can protect our peace because we've earned the right to do so. And that's the first rule. You've earned the right to be present. You've earned the right to stand in the place of your life and make some changes or decisions about how to go forward because you've lived 100% of everything that's thrown at you and you've survived it. You might have even thrived in it, but if nothing else, you've survived it. And it may be time to start thriving and not surviving. But number one, you've got to stay present. You can't move forward if you don't know what you want. And you are never going to know what you want next if you're pulled in 50 different directions. Rule number two is to fill your well, especially in the middle years. It can become harder and harder to find and carve that space of protecting our peace. It can become really difficult to carve a life of filling your well. And it's important to distinguish between the occasional thing that you do that fills your well and creating a life that fills your well. We can all find pockets of time to go get a massage or have brunch with your friends or take a trip, but rarely do we find the space that allows us to cultivate a life where the feeling of those things is always present, where the feeling of peace and joy and relaxation and tranquility are parts of our daily life, not just pockets of once a week or once a month or, 2 or 3 times a year, but in the daily, stopping and having your well filled is paramount in the middle years. Because again, this is a huge transitionary time of our lives. We are in the muddy middle. We're between generations. We're figuring out who we are, where we're supposed to go next, if we even want to go where we've been going, or if it's time to jump ship and build a new one, right? And so because we're in that place of the push-pull tension, it becomes even more important to fill our well on a daily basis and to cultivate a life of well filling and not moments of well filling because it's too hard to be in the middle years with everything going on, to rely on the occasional filler upper to get you through all of the things that are coming on the daily basis. So, how does your daily well filling activity look like? What does that look like for you? What does it mean for you? Have you made a list of your non-negotiable things in the day that fill your cup and don't allow that cup to be emptied? And if it gets a little low, you go and you do one of those things to bring you back up again. Because one of the beautiful things about the middle years that we understand if we've made it this far, if we're lucky enough to get here, is that we know how to get through time. And we know that there are 24 hours in a day, and we don't need 24 hours in the day to fill our cup. We need concentrated few hours every day to remind ourselves of how fantastic we are, of how beautiful we are, of how great we are, of how much we love ourselves, of how much we enjoy our own company, of how much we love beautiful things, of how much we enjoy beautiful food, whatever the case may be, right? We have lived with the precious gift of ourself, and in the middle years, we should be allowed to give that gift of ourself to ourself every single day. So if you're carving some time, if you're carving 15 minutes a day, carve 30. You can't you there's someplace else in your day where you can carve 30 minutes. And then what are you doing with yourself for those 30 minutes? You're filling your well. You have to care for the woman that is going through the middle years. And you can't just care for her once a week. You can't just care for her once a month. Caring is like courage. It's a muscle you have to build and keep using and flexing so it doesn't atrophy. So as you are filling your well every day, you may find that as time goes by, you're able to give yourself pockets of the day where you are making sure to check in to see that my well is full and I'm able to do whatever else is coming, or my well not so full right now. I'm going to take a well break. I'm going to go get a cup of coffee, tea. In fact, if you want tea, join us on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time for a little tea break. The community of women who gets together for no drama and good conversation. But you build into your schedule, wellness, and you don't just give it lip service. Oh, I went for a walk for 10 minutes on Tuesday. That's fantastic. What did you do 2 or 3 hours later when you were stressed like crazy sitting in traffic on your way home? How did you fill your well for the rest of the day to get through dinner, kids, conversations, homework, work at home that you brought home, right? Do you go to the gym because you wanted to go to the gym? Do you go to the gym because it's another obligation that you checked off the list? Because gym could be the wellness, right? But it doesn't feel like that when it's like, okay, I just got to go to the gym today. Not saying that your obligations cannot m- um, masquerade as a wellness check, but you know what I mean. Your well moments, the moments of filling your well, should feel so expansive and not constricting. They should leave you feeling euphoric, like you've brought something beautiful in and absorbed it in, and now you can move forward with the rest of your day. What are those things for you? You should start a list. Rule number three so talking about filling your well, rule number 3 is to make small goals to get yourself to the place that you want to be. Part of the middle years is transition, right? We're going through some things. Whoo, child, we're going through some things. Um, we're looking different, we're feeling different. We may be at the beginning of a new thing, at the end of a new thing. We still have dreams and we still have a lot of life, hopefully, left to live, but we cannot do everything. And instead of getting overwhelmed and frustrated about what we can't do, let us set small goals that we can achieve so that we don't feel overwhelmed and under pressure. Because again, when you're sandwiched between the generations and you're responsible for a lot of things, your dreams can start to feel like, you know what, I had my time. I just got to get in here and dig in and do what I got to do until until never, until never. Because once we decided that we're going to shelve ourselves, here goes that well filling thing. Once we shelve ourselves, we rarely pull ourselves back off the shelf to pursue things that are important to us because we get told, sometimes explicitly, sometimes implicitly, we get told that we have reached the place where we're supposed to just be giving back and supporting other people. We're not supposed to be pursuing new things. But I wonder how many of us would be really sad if people in history who were older didn't choose to pursue new things even as they were aging. If they didn't choose to write great books, if they didn't choose to start new music careers, if they didn't choose to have new dreams, set new goals and keep going so that we end up with wonderful things in the world. Wonderful things. Well, you get to end up in wonderful things in your world if you don't lose sight of your dreams and you set small goals every day that you want to achieve. Things that are important to you, not things that you have to do. For God's sakes, put the task list down. Things that are goals that are important for your dreams, goals that are important for your moment, for your present. If you are frustrated because you don't get a chance to read, set a small goal of reading something, whatever, fun, fiction, nonfiction, I don't care what you love. But if you can't find the 15 minutes to get that done, and that doesn't count, it doesn't count if you are finding the 15 minutes, but you're multitasking it. The goal that you set should focus on you. It should allow you that feeling of euphoria, that effused feeling like I did this and I accomplished it and I did it and I feel good about it and I'm so excited to go on with the rest of my day. If you're a writer and you're struggling with writer's block, this is a great time to set a small goal of reading your own work. Fall back in love with your characters by reading your own work 10 or 15 minutes a day. If you're a musician who's always wanted to write music and publish it, set a small goal every day to do music and then start a YouTube channel. Hi, YouTube, right? Like in filling our wellness cup, we should also be filling our dream cup. And if we start setting small goals in service to our dreams and not all the tasks we have to get done, then our lives begin to expand and open up. And that's, I'm going to keep with that expansion feeling because part of the middle years is transitioning into this really amazing chapter of life where we have time, maybe not time, but time, and we have talent and we have skill and we have dreams and we have resources and we have community, right? So now those dreams may feel bigger, but they're also more doable. If we just remember rule number 3, which is set small goals every day in service to the dreams of the next best chapter of our life, whatever that may be. Rule number 4, choose your tribes. Choose your tribe. This is the time in your life where you need to start shedding people out of your tribe who are not going where you are or who are staying where you've been. How about that? Sometimes we forget that just because we've been together forever doesn't mean we're going to be together forever. And other times we forget that it is completely okay to make new friends and not lose the old ones. Choose your companions wisely. The next best chapter of your life, remember, is about expansion and leaning into the euphoric feeling of expansion, of bigger things, of living yourself in the present, of living your dreams in real time. It takes a special kind of person to say yes to this, which means it takes special kind of people to support you in that. Not everybody wants to go where you're going. Not everybody should go where you're going, but you should go anyway and bring people with you who want to come, people who support you. And it may be that you already know them, but it might be time to find a new circle of people. So the fourth rule is to choose your companions very carefully. You have lived on this planet long enough to know toxic relationships exist, and you've probably been in one or two of them. You also have lived long enough to know, and hopefully you've gotten some therapeutic work around the communication patterns and the relationship patterns that may not serve you very well. You've done the work, beloved. You have done the work. So now that you've done the work, have you done the pruning of your companionship list and said, you know what, we work really well together. We're still tracking in the same direction. We still support each other. It still feels like we are each other's cheerleaders. Or have you surrounded yourself with people who are lovely for the woman that you were a decade ago, not so much for the woman that you are now? So therefore, how will they be the person how will they be able to support the woman that you might become a decade from now? It can be really difficult in the middle years to make new friends because the assumption is that you're set. But we know that's not true. We know because we're in the middle years how much we don't feel settled anymore, that we might have actually felt more settled a decade ago. And now all of a sudden we want different things. We're thinking about different things. We're choosing a new body. We're choosing new hairstyles. We're choosing travel versus getting, in staying in a job. We're choosing to sell houses and start businesses. All of a sudden we're choosing different things. We know we're not settled. We know that it's not the same anymore, but we believe the lie that it's hard for us to make friends because all the friendship groups are settled. Well, they're not. And you want to surround yourself with people on this journey, in this journey of middle life, on this road, who are like you in the fashion that you're on a new journey together. You're standing in the present, in the muddy middle of life, but you're standing in the present, clean and shining, with a focus on being here and getting there in the most peaceful and euphoric way possible. And you know that you want to bring people with you, or you want people on this journey with you. So sometimes you start having to walk that road alone. And you will find in time that people that you thought would be with you will fall away. But if you keep walking and you don't put your head down and you look around and you make eye contact with the world, you will probably find that there are people out there trying to make eye contact with you as well, who are going on the journey with you. And maybe you have to start a little tribe to find your tribe. Maybe you have to cultivate a little community of new people, of like minded souls who are going to become your new tribe. You can do it. You can do it. You know why? Because you have done everything. You know how to do so much more than you give yourself credit for. Rule number 5, remember, remember that it is your job to just do your work, not to judge what work you are doing. Let me say that again. It is your job in the muddy middle on the journey of middle life. Your job is just to do the work, not judge the work that you have done in the past or prejudge the work that you're going to do in the future. Your job is just to do the work, head up, making eye contact with the world, using your skills, your knowledge, your assets, your resources, your understandings, under your patterns to move forward, using all of who you are, the beautifulness of who you are in this middle stage to just do the work. What is the work? The work is reshaping your identity for the next best chapter. That is the work. And that work is being done on you, whether you like it or not. Because as we said in the middle years, we're going through some changes we can do nothing about. But we can do something about a lot of the other changes around some of those changes that we can't do anything about. And that is your job, is to do that work. The work that says, on the other side of this change I can't do anything about, I'm going to be this kind of person. So let me start doing that work now. It's the work that remembers your dreams and begins to break them down into manageable steps and starts doing them. It's the work that remembers that every day I have to fill my well multiple times a day, not once a week, not once a month, and God knows not once a quarter, right? It's the work of staying present and being unabashedly present in your life, in the skin that you stand in the space that you're in, whether that's standing in a beautiful garden, flying at 35,000 feet, hiking through the woods, playing with your kids, playing with your pets. Being present is also the work. And the reason the rule number 5 is your job is just to do the work, not judge the work, is because in the middle years, we also bring with us some baggage that we need to unpack. We have a lot of baggage that we have accumulated in our 20s, 30s, and early 40s that by late 40s, early 50s, we need to start unpacking it because we're weighed down with the expectations of others and with the history of what we've been through. And I love history. I'm a student of history, and I believe that you must understand where you've been to make sense of what is happening now, even if it isn't going to help you where you're going. But sometimes we hang on to the history and we wear it as a shield around us to prevent us from growing. And growing in the middle years is super important. This is not the time to stagnate. This is not the time to stop and go, I'm going to rest on my laurels because I'm tired. Yes, there's a lot happening, but that is why the rules of for the road are so important. So important because we're in the middle years, because our bodies are changing whether we like it or not. Our stamina, our energy, our physical being, things we literally can't do much about. We can supplement, we can take replacement therapies, we can do all kinds of things to help manage it, but we can't stop it. And because there are things that we cannot stop and cannot actually change, what we do have to do is find ways in that to be present, to come through it in such a way that, man, once it was done, life opened up. But it opened up because I was already ready and open, because I've been doing the work, because I was ready to go and see and do, because I'd set small goals and I had made good strides forward so that when the muddy middle turns into whatever it's going to turn into, you're set. You're set. You're walking the road with your true companions. You're doing the work. and you're not judging yourself for whatever mistakes that you might make along the way. Because the one thing about living in the muddy middle is that we've made some mistakes along the way. And we're okay because remember, you have survived 100% of everything that has happened to you so far. Everything. Didn't say you had to like it, didn't say it was pleasant all the time, but you survived it all, the good and the bad. So now what? Now what do you do? I said I would tell you if you weren't sure how to get your rules of the road figured out. I just gave them to you. Just write them down. But if you are a woman of a certain age and you're like, but Dr. Sashina, I'm struggling. I don't know how to let things go. I don't know who I'm supposed to be in this middle of the life journey. I have something for you. On Black Friday, instead of boycotting the shopping world, which you're welcome to do, I don't really care. What you could also do is engage with figuring out how to relieve the stress of not knowing what's next, how to figure out why don't I want to do all these things that I should do because I'm in my 40s and I'm supposed to want to do these things. Maybe you don't have to do them. Maybe you shouldn't do them. The Life Reimagined experience is all about helping you figure out how to answer the simple question of what's next. So, what's next for me? And making that answer resonate in a way that it protects you from everything that's going to come your way when you make the decision about what's next. Because once we build our shield, once we protect our peace and we build a moat around our peace and around our new merging identity, and we answer the question of so now what in a way that brings us to a place of euphoria, then we're going to fight like hell to make sure nobody can take it down, can take it away from us. And that's what the Life Reimagined experience helps you do. It helps you answer the so now what question in a way that's honoring where you are, where you think you want to go, and tells you how to get there. But most importantly, it provides you with that moment that says, I'm not crazy. I can do this. I just didn't know how. And now I do. If you're interested in being a part of that, of having that conversation with yourself, of finding that sense of peace, sign up for the workshop. It is a free workshop, but space is limited. I only take a certain number into the group at a time because it can get a little crazy. But the sign up will be in the link in the description below. Thank you for tuning in. This is Dr. Sasheen with Women in Transition Podcast. If you're listening to it, thank you for listening wherever you've subscribed. If you're watching me on YouTube, please hit like and share this video with someone that you know needs to hear this message. This is Dr. Sasheen. Until next time, bye.